Just a few words. Life, what we refer to as life, this human experience, is fulfilled via your contemplation of truth, via your contemplation of the self. It is, one could say, your opportunity to awaken to truth, to what is real. And what is real is eternal. It is real across the impression of time and space. Without contemplation, without the inquiry into the true meaning, the true significance of this experiment, we are like a cork on top of the water. We go up and down the waves. Our experience is a mind experience. It remains conditioned by the belief that there is an external reality, that the body is real, the world is real, the mind is real. This belief is deeply rooted in our psyche and in our feeling state. While, in fact, what we are is infinite, invisible, formless, non-phenomenal, beyond mind, cannot be put in words, cannot be conceived, nor perceived. So the contemplation is a sort of diving into the infinite, invisible self, ever deeper, being clear that what appears and disappears is like the clouds, like the mist, like the wind. To be clear that the phenomenal realm is like your night dream and your waking dream. Its substance does not reside in it. The reality of your dream, the reality of the images that you perceive, or the pink flying elephant that you ride in your night dream, does not belong to the pink flying elephant, nor does it belong to the person that you imagine yourself to be, or the person that you feel that you are. A feeling doesn't define what I am. A perception, an experience, a phenomenal event does not define what I am, nor can it touch me. Our entire negative emotions of fear and concern and worry arise from the misunderstanding, a misunderstanding that I am affected or affectable by the world body-mind events. Body-minds are in the phenomenal realm, and the phenomenal principles apply to them. If you drop a cup from a certain distance over a ceramic floor, that cup will shatter. These principles apply to the phenomenal realm. But the phenomenal realm is imbued with the non-phenomenal. Its substance is the non-phenomenal, which is the magical realm of consciousness. When you contemplate that an acorn manifests as a sprout and in time manifests as a giant oak tree, or when you contemplate the wonder of awareness, your mind is humbled, comes to stillness, falls on its knees, and is humbled. So as you are living as a truth lover, being clear to a certain extent about your true purpose, you recognize the illusion of the me that is constantly trying to pull you into the feelings and into the emotions, trying to reduce you to a set of feelings and emotions and thoughts and concerns and worries, and tries to rob you from your inherent freedom, making you believe that your happiness depends on the world body mind, on whether you win or lose, and that your happiness depends on the situations and on the conditions that are just your dream. We all want a happy dream, but you cannot dream a happy dream as a separate self. You can only experience the angst of separation and worries about you in time. What will happen to me? You cease to perceive the joy and the freedom and the playfulness of the dream as you become a subject of it, a victim of it. What are you a subject to? What are you a victim to? Of what? Isn't it all arising within you? So are you a victim of your very self? What for? We compromise our happiness by buying into that conditioned mind that is stuck around the I thought, the me. But the I thought doesn't define you. You are that infinite presence, that borderless presence, the reality, the truth of being. The I thought appears to you, but you don't need to buy whatever goods are submitted to you. You remain honoring your freedom, honoring what you truly are, and you buy the goods that please you. But you're not attached to them. Because as soon as you attach yourself, you've reduced yourself to somebody. You've reduced yourself to a form in time and space that you are not. You are the formless self. You are the transparency of being. So I welcome whatever questions you may have. There are a couple of questions that were sent to me, but I will go over them if time allows. And for now, if you have any questions. Hello, Ananda. You're right. I'm just curious as to the format of this meeting. Are there others in the room with you? It being Saturday, Satsang Day. No, Ananda. There is no satsang today. I've cancelled it.
Uh,
And the format is just a format of just being together as we usually get together on Thursdays and Sundays.
and are you having a hangout tomorrow or no? Do you know?
Did I announce it or not? I forgot.
No, I don't think, I have you listed as, see Maggie first and all that, but still sometimes I don't get them untimely.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure that I have announced it. It is my intention to, but we'll see. I haven't announced it yet, but
Okay.
most I will announce it. And also, since we are on this topic, I recall last time you have mentioned, or maybe Zoe had mentioned, a couple of people had mentioned the possibility of recording or doing a Zoom meeting during the retreat. And upon second thought, I decided not to do that. I, my thinking is that the retreat is requires your presence.
Right. I was also thinking there's a certain intimacy there where spontaneity and in presence, having it broadcast to the whole world might change things somewhat, something like that.
That's how I'm perceiving it right now.
Okay, thanks. So much appreciation for these meetings, in whatever form that they come.
Yes. In your spiritual journey, there are some precious, the most precious manifestation for you in your journey is meeting a teacher, a life teacher, somebody who is established as a self. That is your greatest fortune. The other fortunes is for you to be drawn to Atma Vishara, what am I truly? The inquiry into the illusion of separation, the illusion of personhood. And the third fortune, or I would say part of the path, fortunate parts of the path, is the surrender, is the being drawn, that surrender speaks to you, and you're surrendering, contemplating, and you have your teacher. You could say that this is when the stars are lined up,
As far as the surrendering aspect, I noticed it's like a little shift. It seems like a little shift at the same time it's a quantum shift where something that's a concern or an issue in the relative life just loses the luster compared to the clarity and the presence, the shift. And that seems to be what the surrender is. It's like that.
The surrender goes hand in hand with the Varamai, this open question that within it there is a resonance of the infinite invisible self. Because what am I is a direct question from the self to the self, and it reveals that is untouched, that is untouchable by world body mind events. And so the surrender is sort of it's like being sort of at the tip of experiencing a certain world body mind event, and at the same time recognizing that that is not a form, the formless self,
Yeah.
that my reality, that is completely free of all of that, and it's sort of if falling into that,
Uh-huh.
as opposed to falling into, oh my goodness, what's happening to me. It's
Uh-huh.
it's like a it's like this balance, this very uh, this tipping point where you're you say yes to what becomes more and more obvious to you, that what I am is the freedom of the self. What I am is the transparency of being, and that is what is real across the board in my experience, and not the download.
Mhm.
So you say yes to that. And of course, there is no formula about it.
Uh-huh.
It's helpful to notice that everything you experience in the human realm can be reduced to just thought,
Mhm.
perceptions, and sensations. Yes.
Your voice dropped out just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Everything in the human realm can be reduced to thought.
To thought, perception, and sensation. That in fact is what the human experience is. Yes.
Yeah.
And when you go to the thought, it's gone, it's not there. When you go to the sensation, you don't know exactly where you're going. It's a combination of thought and memory and judgments, and it's all so diffuse, and it's also same thing when you go to the perception. It's changed now. It's a new perception. New perception. It's so you realize that in fact your experience, it, you can't pin it down. Although we do use these concepts, thoughts, perceptions, sensations, etc., we
Mhm.
really can't really pin it down. And when you look closer at your experience, your human experience, you find that in fact it is not a human experience. It is consciousness. It is
Mm.
it is
Mhm.
awareness. It's consciousness.
Mhm.
And then there is an understanding that the human, what we refer to as human, is sort of taking the reality of consciousness and saying no to it. No, what you are is this mortal body mind, and it's me, and it's my consciousness. So it's like it's a distortion of truth. You get to realize that, and so when that tipping point comes, where you're going to you're at that place where are you going to be sort of subject to what is happening, or are you going to recognize the reality of consciousness? It's helpful for you to contemplate the human experience, to see the emptiness of it, and to see that the human experience is really unsubstantial, that its substance is not in the realm of the human, it is in the realm of God, it's in the formless realm. So the entire dialogue around consciousness and the mind is an important conversation that helps you in this letting go. And the letting go more and more your direction, but it becomes more and more a letting go with the recognition of what I am, while it may start with a letting go out of a certain understanding that that is the direction, but it's still lacking the maturity or the ripeness of the recognition of what I am.
I think a big part of surrender becoming more real for me, more reality, is that any relative situation or experience, being with a person, whatever, is actually better. It's always better from the consciousness perspective than it is from the small self trying to get something perspective, because I can see the psychological, emotional confusions at play with everything that's engaged from the me mode is confused and has danger in it and all this crap,
Yeah. Right. And when you separate yourself from the world, from the other, when you are in the me bubble,
Mm-hmm.
it's already unhappy.
Right.
And whatever you are doing, whatever you're thinking, whatever you're you're considering from that perspective has in it that unhappiness, and
Right.
it, it's maintained at the source. And so when you are contemplating being in the world, being in relationship as consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
you are recognizing yourself as that transparency of being, and you're recognizing everything and everybody to be that. And it's not a form, it's a formless self. And then your experience is an experience of complete intimacy, and not an experience where we are negotiating the goods,
Yeah.
And intimacy is it's love, it's beauty, it's peace, it's happiness. An intimacy that has no, that's absolute, that has no opposite,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't have anything that is not itself.
Mm-hmm. So that's where the happiness of the self is continuously present. So whether it's driving to work in the bad traffic,
Oh, yeah.
or it's enjoying a glass of wine in the evening, it doesn't, not one is not really better than the other, because it's imbued with
The self-recognition. Yes. So in your night dream, you are resting in bed, and irrespective of what dreams are happening.
Right.
In self-recognition, it's sort of similar, except you're awake. You know yourself. You know you're awake. And you know all your dreams. They refer to the I am. They refer to that is not in that realm. So whether you are having a cup of tea, whether you're in traffic, you are not, in fact, that. You're the self, you are the peace, you are the beingness. And you're no longer identified with the subject that is experiencing the personal desires and personal needs. There are needs at the body-mind level that they operate as part of the gravitational field and as part of the cosmic realm. You cannot make a tomato seed, but yet there is a tomato seed. You cannot make a tomato, and yet there is a tomato.
Yes, right.
Part of the cosmic realm. You cannot make the weather. You cannot make the sunshine. It's part of the realm of the waking dream, the manifest realm, God's dream. So with that understanding, the impression that there is a personal reality that requires a certain personal satisfaction and personal satiation of desires. That is not. You've seen that already.
It's like an old paradigm then. Yes,
it's an old paradigm that is no longer applicable. It's not efficient. It's pretty disastrous.
Right.
You don't operate according to those principles anymore.
I have to say, satsang is a very good thing. It's on its own level. It's like, I used to be with John Klein quite a bit.
Right. Yeah. John Klein, great sage.
I was fortunate to have a wonderful grandmother when I was little. And when I met John Klein, I saw that same kind of love from him.
Yes, that's very sweet.
Well, thanks.
Okay, Ananda. Hello, Holly. Oh, John, yes. So Holly writes, I'm copy pasting this on behalf of John. Okay. It's not clear to me if you can see it. Otherwise, no, I haven't seen John's message, Holly. So thank you for pasting it. So he writes, the problem seems to be a me, thoughts and feelings, that is struggling to surrender. All our appearances coming and going. Correct? Yeah. The problem of when you say the me is trying to surrender, is struggling to surrender. That's that's what a trickster this me is. In fact, the me is completely the opposite of surrender. The me is just desires and resistance. So when the me says, "Oh, you know, I'm struggling to surrender," or when that thought arises, it's a trickster thought. I wouldn't buy this thought because it's a lie. By its very nature, the me is resistance, meaning not wanting what is, and seeking, wanting what is not. That's the me. And it's really no me. It's just when that thought or that feeling arises of resisting or seeking, that's what we refer to as me. But in fact, there is no me. You see, John, it's not that in fact the problem is that there is a me that is struggling. There is no me. And when the thought arises, you know, it is me who's struggling to surrender, I would be very wary of this thought because it's not speaking the truth. So if somebody says something that is not the truth, I ignore it. I don't get all huffy and puffy about it. I don't get disturbed by it. No, just somebody is hallucinating. Is saying the Earth is flat. I say, okay, what 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 do I care about that? But when I don't see that this is a lie, then I get very affected. Oh my goodness, it's the me. How can I, as a me, that's struggling to let go, is struggling to surrender? That's the problem I'm having. But in fact, you're not having a problem. You're just believing that you have a problem, but while you don't, because it's not the me that is surrendering. Surrendering occurs without the surrenderer. The thought may arise, let it go. And so you say yes or you say no. The you that says yes or no is consciousness. It's not a me. What is it that perceives the thought? It's not a me that perceives the thought, it's awareness, consciousness that perceives. Me is an imagined, it's an add-on. Say, oh no, it was me who who understood that it's me who's trying to, but that's just an add-on. This is a story. It's the me story. Me, it's the me, it's the me. But what is the me? You look for the me right now. What is it? What is the reality of the me right now outside of a thought or a feeling? When you go to the thought, it's changed. When you go to the feeling, it's changed. So what is this reality of the me that you're speaking about, that you feel is the problem because it's really trying to surrender and it can't, or whatever? It's illusion. You have to see that. I cannot see it for you. You have to see it for yourself. That this is a story you're buying into. You're saying yes to this notion that it is the me who is trying to surrender, and that's the problem that I'm having. While in fact there is no me. Surrender comes hand in hand with the recognition that I am this borderless presence. That whatever arises is welcome and free to arise in this space. And this old tendency to feel that something may harm me is just a thought and a feeling. That does not define me, nor do I need to say, yes, it defines me. I have an option. I always as consciousness. It's I as consciousness, John, not I as a me. I have the option at that time to say, no, I'm not buying into something really bad is happening to me. Yes, I lost my car. Yes, my partner left me. But I am not buying into this thought that something bad is happening to me. You can say, well, how could you do that when, my partner has left me? We've been together for so many years, and now you have to realize, John, that it's all God's doing. Aha, okay, I'm seeing now. I see. So there is another, yeah. Yeah, so you're right, John. I was just checking the notion that there is no solidity in a me. Yes, there is no me to surrender. Just be silent, be who I truly am. Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely, absolutely. Silence. There is a great wisdom in just silence, which is the silence of the self. It's not being silent. It is what it is. It is this formless. It's not in the realm of the mind. Where was I? Let me see. There's a way I can hear a little beep now when when you send me. Oh,
you were just saying that God makes all these things happen.
yes,
So
yes. Thank you, Ananda. When it's meant for your partner to go contemplate his or her life in a different direction, it's God's wish, God's will. It's a great opportunity for you to just really, really surrender, using that word. Oh, okay, I see, John. John is writing, I cannot get on my video. I can only hear you. Okay, John. Okay, well, sorry to hear that, but it's okay. I'm getting your messages now. I hear a beep every time that you write something. Now I realize what it is. You wrote a beautiful post, Ananda, just today, right? Didn't you write something about, you wrote something really beautiful. Let me see if I can find it. Uh, that was quite uh, applicable to what we are sharing right now. Let me see, where did you write? Yeah, you wrote compersion. Compersion?
Yeah, it's a term that's kind of relatively new.
Yes, you're right. Compersion is the term that refers to being genuinely happy for our loved ones whenever they experience pleasure or joy. It's a wonderful alternative to jealousy. This refers to honoring and caring about someone with whom you are very close without feelings or ideas that we could or would want to possess them. Yes, that's very, very lovely. That's a really nice post. And I think this is a post that I definitely should share right now. Uh, yes, these are qualities that we cultivate them. We cultivate these qualities because we recognize the beauty of these qualities, the value of these qualities, and so we cultivate them. Meaning we live according to them. We don't just say, "Oh, these are nice," love, beauty, or honor is really nice, and then we live the opposite way.
Right.
We honor them by living them.
This thing about jealousy, I know, I'm aware of so many relationships and possibilities that were quite beautiful with people where jealousy, that tendency, unquestioned, caused not to work out.
Yes.
Women will tell me, I had 2 or 3 great relationships, but always they weren't okay with me being me, in a social situation or whatever, and it just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. But I think it goes along with all these kind of knowing ourselves as borderless and as the source of love.
Right. Yeah. The negative emotions, part of the package of being a personal self, imagining yourself to be this person, and I need, I have all my desires, they have to be fulfilled. My happiness depends on him, on her, on
Mm.
this, on that, on such and such. So the negative emotions are the way the self appears. I mean, the unhappiness,
Yeah.
that's the step itself. Some people say, "Oh, well, be human. You have to be human also." Meaning what?
Right.
Meaning what?
Right. Meaning you have
Unhappy.
to.
Unhappy. Because consciousness doesn't know unhappiness. That's the human. Like, oh, what are you doing for me? Oh, you're doing. Oh, you're good. You're pleasing me. I'm pleasing you. Good. Now we're happy because we're pleasing each other. But then you fall in love with somebody else. Oh my God, you are the greatest traitor. I wanted you. You promised me. Oh, well, we know that. I mean, this is. I mean, the human realm is always about concern. What are they doing to me? Are my parents good to me? Are my neighbors good to me? Uh, that's that's what for most of us is our life. And so that's all the dream, the unhappy dream. But the cause, the source of this unhappy dream, is believing in humanity, believing that there is such a thing as a person. It is consciousness.
Mm.
And consciousness is not just a person, it's the trees, it's the oceans, it's the air, and it's nothing. It's not no such thing. It's like your all your dreams are you, but you're not anything. You remain as that is not of the dream.
It's like it doesn't matter what the words are if you're talking about, if person means limited, old paradigm thinking, suffering, that's not good. If consciousness means love and openness that's profound, then that's
Yes.
good.
You have to see that in your life and live. Trust consciousness. Trust the path of God. Trust God. Trust truth. What is true in your experience? Is it not consciousness? That you cannot measure, that has no gender, it has no age, it has no size. It's not born, it's not dead. You have to trust that. Keep going back to that. Not keep going back to, oh my God, my bank account, oh my God, my partner, oh my God, my house, oh my God, my car, oh my God, my
Right.
retirement.
And then the miracle is you look and your bank account's still there, even though
Absolutely.
you weren't worried about it.
If it's meant to be bank account, or you may find yourself in a place where it's just you're surrounded with love and there's no money, but it's all love and happiness and joy. And I heard another ping. Let me see. So I have to go to another. Oh, I don't see that now. Let me see. Maybe it's here. Oh, John. I have to be. I have to better. I have to see others as less than. Don't just be a little easier than that, John. Don't have to so much. Don't worry so much, but let it be. I have to dominate over others. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. See, so you're okay. Well, I'm just gonna leave that because I'm not sure how to respond to that because they're just pieces. But simply, sorry, John, I couldn't fully get what you were saying, but it's okay. So, any questions, anybody? Oh, okay, I got you, John. Yes, they do reinforce the me. Any time that you're referring to I as a person, it's the reinforcement of the person. And whenever you refer to I as consciousness, you are, let's say, reinforcing consciousness. Consciousness reinforcing itself. So if there are no questions, I will read this. Let me see. Yeah, we still have time. So Bo writes, this teacher, a certain teacher, I don't want to mention the name right now, went on that life is meant to be lived as a duality, but without any suffering. And there is never going to be truth, as truth is not an experience. Well, good luck in living life as a duality without any suffering. Let me know your success rate with that. But I already know that is going to be 0%. Even, I'm continuing with what Bo writes, even when awareness is without thoughts, that is still an experience. Even when awareness is without thoughts, that is still an experience. Well, we could say that thought is an experience. I mean, that's a language, a way of speaking. Say, well, I'm perceiving a thought. We can call it an experience if you want. Why not? Or we just call it thought. We don't need to add another term to it, calling it an experience, but fine, if you want to call it experience, we can call it an experience. What really matters is for you to understand that awareness is not an experience. Awareness is a reality. Consciousness is a reality. It depends how we use this term. Sometimes I use the term experience when I'm talking about consciousness, but I'm using it in a certain context. But in the context of your question, consciousness is the reality. Experience comes and goes. A thought comes and goes. But awareness does not come and go. Consciousness does not come and go. So in your saying that awareness, when awareness is without a thought, that is still an experience? No, because when awareness is without a thought, there is just awareness. And how can you call that an experience? Awareness is not an experience. It's self-aware, and self-awareness, being self-aware, is not an experience. It is the reality of awareness. Awareness is made out of awareness. It is knowingness is made out. Knowing is made out of knowingness. The very substance of awareness is knowingness. That is not an experience. Experience, in the way you are turning this new question, is something that comes and goes, something that appears. Consciousness does not uh, consciousness does not appear. Awareness does not appear. It is self-knowing. It knows itself. It appears to itself, but it's not a phenomenal appearance. So no, when you say even when awareness is without thoughts, that is still an experience, not true. Not true. And then Boris, you now is referring to Magdi. You teach perfection and striving for perfection. I feel that there is no need for all that perfection. Life can be enjoyed all along the way as life unfolds. A flower does not have, this is still Bohr talking, a flower does not have to fully bloom to enjoy life. There is the effortless unfolding of life, and there is also conditioning going on within that. The conditioning within the life is natural. Well, I just speak my experience. And I point to the self as the reality of my experience. When I say my, I recognize I as universal self. It's a recognition that I cannot explain it to you. You can only understand it via your interest in it. And it's your interest in the universal I, in knowing yourself, that can truly answer your question and can help you understand what I'm saying. And a student who is working with a teacher, even when they don't fully understand what the teacher is saying, they are open to the teacher. They trust. They feel in their heart that there is a truth being spoken. They have a love for the teacher via his teaching or her teaching. They're open, and it's this openness that allows them, that allows the light to shine through and the understanding to come to them. But in the absence of a trust in the teacher, then you're only hearing with your mind. And you perceive that I am teaching perfection, and okay, well, and striving for perfection. Okay, if that's what you perceive, uh, and you perceive that life can be enjoyed as it unfolds, then best of luck to you. I only wish you the happiness. You say flower does not have to fully bloom yeah, life doesn't. A flower does not have to fully bloom, but it will. A flower will fully bloom, except if somebody comes and plucks it. And as of conditioning being part of life, yes, true, conditioning is part of life, but I don't just talk about life. I recognize life as being the human realm. I speak of the reality of consciousness, which is completely not in the realm of the conditioned, not in the realm of the conditioned. So the life that I speak about, I refer to it as the reality of consciousness, and that has nothing to do with the conditioning of the mind. Okay. Okay. So any questions, anybody?
Magdi?
Yes, hello Zoe.
Oh, good. You can hear me.
Yes.
I have this confusion coming up, and it's around addiction. Um, so the self is not affected by anything in the phenomenal realm, but so in the past I used drugs and alcohol to drown my suffering, basically. And I attend 12-step meetings, and what I see there is that anybody who's an addict can never go back to becoming a social drinker or anything. And to me, I don't know, maybe you can clear this up, but it just seems like such a contradiction between the self that is unaffected by anything and the body mind that seems to be affected in
Right.
that way.
Yes. So the fact that a certain addiction has been alleviated via a certain program, the 12-step program or whatever, other program, mm, signify that this addiction has sort of been, let's say, cured or settled. But it does not mean that this person is contemplating the self, or is realizing the self, or is living as the self. So your question about somebody who follows the 12-step program and then should not, and then it is not to drink socially in any way, while the self is complete freedom. This person who is free of the addiction is still not free of the me.
Okay.
So being not free of the me, but still having had a benefit from the 12-step program, and now can live a functioning life without that addiction, but beware not to re-tempt the me with the drinks. It makes sense in that conversation. While the conversation about the self and awakening to the self is a completely different conversation, and it makes sense to follow the 12-step program and follow their wisdom, because they obviously have developed the wisdom over many experiments, many iterations, and so there is a certain path that they advocate. But your question relates to the self, and the curing of an addiction does not cure you from the me.
Say that last part again. The curing of an addiction does not what?
Does not cure you of the me.
Okay, thank you.
Of the personhood. You are a better person because you are free of your addiction, but you are still a person.
Yeah, I've heard of stories of sages being given, like one sage being given LSD by somebody, and he just, swallowed it like whatever, it's not going to affect me at all, and it didn't. And yeah, so I don't know what else to say about that, but
yes,
yeah, it seemed like such a contradiction, the freedom of the self versus following, having those limitations of the body mind.
Well, addictions, they refer to the body, but they also refer to the me.
Okay.
So we need to recognize that the body at the physiological level can develop certain addictions. And these like strong calling, strong urging that the body is experiencing, they're also they're perceived, they're impersonal. But when we are a person, we experience these urges as personal, and we perceive that there is something urgent. We need to we need to respond. There is a certain urgency and a certain risk if we don't respond. So so the me and the body and the body expressing its calling work together in developing an addiction. So it's a combo of the body and the me feeling that I must do that, or that I want to do, or it numbs my pain, or whatever. It's subliminal, but it's there. The me is there. Now, when you are free of this impression, of the me impression, the question that comes to mind is, why would you want to addict your body? I mean, I'm talking about addicting your body. You can enjoy all sorts of things. The hallucinogenics, the LSD and other hallucinogenics, they create all sorts of visions, and the body becomes light and bird and colors, and the walls become angels and devils and whatever, colors and what for? I mean, you could, I mean, yeah, you could, but what for? What are you looking for?
Right.
What for? I mean, once you know yourself, you are at peace.
Right.
And
Yes.
I mean, the sage who you mentioned that somebody told him take the LSD and he took it. I don't know what for he did that, but okay, I really not much to say about it. And what for? To say what? To show what? To you could simply tell that person who wanted to give him the LSD. You could just tell them what for.
Okay.
What for? So now there's like, oh yes, there's a whole thing about if you're a sage, you can take LSD and it doesn't affect you. You just stay like, oh yeah. You could be a sage and take LSD and start dancing, and then there would be 20 years later to say, oh yeah, the sage, you give him LSD and they dance. it's all really meaningless, really meaningless.
Oh,
The thing
thank
is,
you.
what for? I mean, of course, you eat, you drink, you enjoy nice food, you cook a nice meal, you enjoy that, enjoy social gathering with friends. It's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
celebratory. But when you go on a journey on your own, what for?
Right.
Even when you go on a journey with two other friends, you trip together, three of you are tripping. Every one of them is in their space because it's so intense for every person. It's so different.
Right.
What sort of celebration is that?
Ah.
I mean, the
Ah.
American Indians used to sit around and pass the peace pipe or whatever you call it, and used to sit by the fire, and I I would say that resonates more. It resonates more to me, or dancing around the fire. It's more friendly, more loving,
Mm.
you know. Um, and to have a drink socially is pleasant, but it's not for anything, Yeah, you become more giddy, more light, and laugh easier, and yeah, that's nice. It's it's celebratory. But I wouldn't confuse a better person with a sage or with somebody who's happy. Even if you're a better person, that doesn't mean you're happy.
Right.
Something else.
So that just sparked something else for me. But so even the body of somebody who's been addicted, I mean, again, back to the thing of you're saying, like, this just goes against everything that I hear in 12-step meetings, that I could ever drink socially again.
Well, you know,
And I don't even know if that would come up. Like you said, when I don't know, I guess when the ego is dissolving and there's just so much enjoyment, nothing else is necessary.
yes, it's not necessary. We don't
Yeah.
have a glass of wine together because it's necessary.
Ah.
We have a glass of wine together just to enjoy the wine, enjoy being together, déguster, how do you say it? Enjoying the drink. It's not about the high, it's about the enjoyment of the enjoyment. You can even enjoy a glass of wine alone. But it's much, much better in a social setting with friends. So this fear, the fear of what may happen to me if I have a drink. Now that is something that I would not cultivate. I would be really watchful of such a thinking, because the me is what this fear is. The fear and the me are one, and the freedom of the self doesn't entertain any fear. At the same time, it's not stupid. It's not going to jump off the cliff just because I'm not afraid of death.
Okay.
But you could enjoy. You could sit at the edge of a cliff and enjoy the view.
Right. Okay. Very good.
By jumping.
So to not cultivate the fear, just keep turning my attention to the self when that
Absolutely.
Fear comes. Okay.
This
All right.
fear is always pertaining to me as a person, me and me in time and space, me in time. It's going to happen to me, me in time and space, and never to what you truly are. And the path is the path to the truth, to the self, to what you truly are, and not the path deeper and deeper into the me. So I would trust the self, I would trust consciousness beyond all, beyond everything.
Okay. Yeah.
That speaks to you directly. You can take your questions to consciousness directly. And your bodily contractions also. Your concern, it expresses itself in your body also. Release it into the space.
Okay.
Recognize its unsubstantiality. Recognize its dream-like quality by recognizing that's the space in which it's all arising and the borderless quality of awareness. Allow the feelings to sink deeper and deeper and deeper into the sensations, into the vastness, without any struggle at all, without any interference. This is an open invitation into the totality.
Thank you, Magdi. Yeah, it feels like part of the iceberg is coming up. Thank you.
I love that. Okay, everybody, very beautiful to be with you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
For your friendship.